When you hear the words corporate governance, I bet your mind jumps to, dusty old rule books and pretty boring board meetings. But what if I told you it's actually a high-stakes global tug of war, a really fascinating story about power, culture, and money that shapes the world's biggest companies, and by extension, all of our lives? It all boils down to this one single question. And trust me, the answer is way more complicated than you might think. It's not just one person or one system. It's more like this incredible global mosaic, where each country's philosophy makes up a unique piece of the puzzle, all competing and somehow coexisting on the world stage.
See, corporate governance isn't some one-size-fits-all thing. It's much more like a nation's corporate operating system. And just like any OS, it's been coded by a country's unique history, its social values, and really, its very identity.
To really get what I mean, let's start in the Anglo-American world. This is where we find the first great philosophical divide. Now, the US and the UK, they're close allies, right? But when it comes to keeping corporations in check, they have fundamentally different ideas. It creates this classic showdown, rules versus principles.
And you can really see these two philosophies laid out here. The US model over on the left, it's like a super strict, detailed recipe. It's all about legal specificity, with laws like Sarbanes-Oxley telling you exactly what to do, step by step. For them, enforceability is everything. Then you have the UK model on the right, which is more like a chef's intuition. It's principles-based, built around this famous idea of comply or explain. The whole system trusts boards to act in the spirit of the law. And hey, if they decide to do something different, they just have to explain why. So one gives you legal certainty, the other gives you business agility.
But okay, the Anglo-American world is really just the beginning of our story. It gets way more diverse and interesting when we take a quick spin around the globe and look at how other major economies build corporate accountability.
This is where you can really see how deep those cultural roots go. In continental Europe, for instance, it's common to see a two-tier board structure that's designed to protect not just the shareholders, but all stakeholders. We're talking employees, the community, the whole shebang. Then you jump over to Japan, and it's all about the famous keiretsu, these interlocking business networks that prioritize stability and collective success above everything else. And for many overseas Chinese businesses, the entire system is built on guanxi, which is all about this dense network of relationships where family stewardship and personal trust are literally the ultimate currency.
This quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head for the Japanese model. While so many Western markets are obsessed with quarterly earnings and what the stock did today, this system is engineered for the long haul, for endurance and social harmony. It's a completely different philosophy of what a corporation is even for.
So we've seen these established systems, right? Rooted in decades, even centuries of history. But what happens when a country has to build a market economy from the ground up? This is where theory gets real and the stakes get incredibly high. Just look at the dramatically different paths Russia and China took after the fall of the Soviet Union.
So the crucial difference here is all about sequencing. As you see on the left, Russia went for shock therapy, just rapid privatization without any of the legal or regulatory foundations to support it. It was like pulling blocks from the bottom of a Jenga tower. It created this institutional vacuum that led to chaos and allowed power to get snapped up by a handful of oligarchs. China, on the other hand, took a gradualist approach. It was this methodical, block-by-block construction that kept state ownership while slowly introducing market mechanics and building the necessary institutions as they went. And while it's had its own issues for sure, China's synchronized approach turned out to be far, far more stable.
Okay, so we've got all these deeply rooted, totally different models, all pulling in their own directions. But that's only one side of our tug of war. On the other side, you've got what I'd call an unstoppable squeeze, a set of really powerful global forces that are pushing all of these different systems closer and closer together. And you can think of these forces like a rising tide that lifts all boats to the same level. Global capital markets are a huge one. I mean, if you want international investment, you have to play by their rules and offer transparency. Then you've got things like global accounting standards, stewardship codes, and companies listing on foreign stock exchanges, all pushing for a common corporate language. And then there's technology. AI-driven tools and real-time data are making governance more transparent and standardized than ever, whether a company's in New York, Frankfurt, or Tokyo. So we've got this incredible tension, right? Deep cultural roots pulling systems apart, and these powerful global forces pushing them together. So which one wins? Well, maybe that's the wrong question. Maybe the future is about finding the one powerful idea that actually unites them all. And that big unifying idea, it's stewardship. It's the simple, timeless principle of safeguarding assets for other people. Think about it. Every single model we've looked at is really just a form of stewardship, but with a different beneficiary. The US model is stewardship for investors. The European model is stewardship for the broader society. The Japanese model is for the collective network. And the Chinese family model? Stewardship for future generations. At the end of the day, it's the shared value that connects every single one of these traditions.
So the future of corporate governance isn't about one model winning. It's not going to be a single global rule book. Instead, it's going to be this sophisticated blend of global standards and local identity. This incredible diversity we've been talking about isn't a flaw in the system. It's actually a strength, a deep reservoir of ideas we can all learn from as we figure out what comes next.
Which leaves us with a really critical question for our time. As corporations become more powerful than ever, operating across borders and shaping our entire world, what does true accountability really look like? Is it a perfect set of rules, a flexible set of principles, or something else entirely? That's the central challenge that we are all going to have to answer as we shape the future of governance.